Chief Washington correspondent Jonathan Karl, thank you. And with me now, ABC News investigative reporter Olivia Rubin, ABC News contributor John Katko. He's a former Republican congressman for New York and a former U.S. assistant attorney. Olivia, I'm going to start with you. It seems President Trump's press conference next week now in doubt. Former President Trump, rather. What more can you tell us?
Well, Alexis, I think sort of as we've been reporting out today, legal advisors now are advising the former president that this is something that he does not want to go through with by any means. And I think when you look at that, it's because he's going to put forward evidence, quite frankly, that he does not have. It's been years now. We know that there is not evidence of fraud in the Georgia election because there was not fraud in the Georgia election. And that's exactly what is at issue in this new indictment that's been brought against him in this past week. So I think when we see advisors, as you know, sources have told John Karl, he's reported out all morning, is that this could only get him in further legal trouble, and they are urging him not to go forward with it as a very, very serious indictment moves forward in Georgia.
So, John, if Trump was to hold this press conference next week, spouting more falsities about the Georgia election, what would that mean for his defense? What kind of position would that put his lawyers in?
Well, first of all, he may be committing more crimes if he's putting out false information. But more importantly, there's two things that could happen that would have been devastating to him. One is he would give the perception to the judge that he has a complete lack of remorse, which is somewhat obvious anyways, but it would be reaffirmed with the judge. And that would be taken into consideration at sentencing should he be convicted. But it also gives the prosecution a glimpse into what their defense is going to be. And there's a reason defense lawyers always tell their clients never to talk until trial. Let us do the talking for you. That's because they're trying to avoid those two things from happening. So cooler heads sound like they're prevailing, but by no means would this have been a good move. This would have been a terrible move on his part.
And Olivia, the Fulton County district attorney wants, of course, this case to move along. Some legal experts are saying it might not pan out that way. Do you think that a March 4th trial date is too ambitious at this point?
Well, I think March 4th is a starting point, and it almost never is the case where the first date that's thrown out there ends up being the actual trial date. I mean, if we look what just happened with Jack Smith and classified documents is that he recommended a December trial date. Trump's team pushed back. They said no after the election, and the judge met in the middle and said, okay, May. So what we can expect now is that Trump's team is going to weigh in. They're going to throw out their own suggestion for a trial date. We know that Trump's team wants to delay this as much as possible, so potentially something after the election, and then the judge is going to weigh in. But I do think what we are dealing with in Georgia with this case is much more complex. It is 19 defendants. There are a number of legal issues, and we heard the DA say she wants to try them all together.
Right.
A 19-defendant case. So this is unlike anything we're seeing anywhere else. So can we get there in just a few months? It's pretty doubtful, and Trump's team, you can bet, is going to do everything in their power to delay.
And John, Trump and his supporters argue that his freedom of speech is being challenged here. I mean, is this a strong argument for his lawyers?
No, his freedom of speech may be a defense at trial, albeit a weak one, but I think it is his defense. That's what it's going to be. But having pretrial conditions about not talking about the case, not trying to somehow intimidate or influence the outcome in advance, those are things that the court must control. And especially the court's got to be concerned about poisoning the jury pool. And, it's clear that's what a lot of defendants try to do, and that's what a lot of judges try them to stop from doing. So, people got to understand the First Amendment is not an unfettered right, and that's going to be tested at trial. But it's also part of the fabric of a pretrial motions, a pretrial procedures. Is you can't just say anything you want anytime you want. That's not how it works.
And Olivia, what should we expect coming out of Georgia in the next few weeks?
A busy. Can't emphasize that enough. Next few weeks in Georgia. I think we keep saying that the Georgia rules are a little unprecedented, and they really are. Something we're going to see is potentially Trump having to go to the state twice, as well as the other defendants, because as we've seen in the other cases, when Trump has surrendered and turned himself in, he's been processed and arraigned before a judge, both at the same time. But that's not the case in Georgia. So the former president has to surrender by next Friday to the jail in Georgia, where we have not seen him go yet. And then he has to show back up before a judge to enter his plea. So already 2 events in the book. So we know the surrenders are coming, the arraignments are coming. And then we also have this separate challenge by one of Trump's co-defendants, Mark Meadows. He has already filed to move this case out of state court in Georgia into federal court in Georgia. And there's already a hearing on that matter. So it's been only 2 days, Alexis, since this indictment has been filed, and already 3 things on the calendar.
Busy, busy, like you said. All right, Olivia Rubin, John Katko, thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.